Hello, in this video I'm going to show you two different ways to read from a text file using C#. Let's start with the more straightforward way, and let's type file.readAllText. Let's create a parenthesis, quotation marks, closing parenthesis, and a semicolon. We're going to need a file to read from, so let's go to our File Explorer and create a file using right-click, New, and Text Document. I'm going to call this test.txt. I'm going to copy the file directory and paste it between the quotation marks, as well as adding an additional slash for the name of the file, which is test.txt. Unfortunately, we can't run it because of these squiggly marks, so we can either escape the backslashes by adding more backslashes, or we can add a @ to the beginning of the string. This method, readAllText, will read the contents of the file that we have created. However, in order to know that we actually did something, we need to be able to display the contents of the file on the screen. So let's create a variable, and let's call it text from file. And we'll set that equal to the result of readAllText. So now we have stored the contents of the file in this variable called text from file. And in order to put that on the screen, let's type console.writeLine text from file, and there we go. Now when I hit read file, you'll notice the contents of the file have been displayed on the screen. But yes, it doesn't actually show anything, and that's because the file is empty and we never added anything. So let's open up that file and add test, test, test. Save the file, close, and when we run it again, you'll notice the contents of the file is still appearing. You'll notice that the text or the content of the file is all one string. But it could be the case that, for example, you want each line in the file to be a different variable or different element of an array. So for example, if I had test on the first line, the name John on the second line, YouTube on the third line, if I save this and run it, you'll notice it has printed all three elements all as one big string. Let's say I want to print them out one by one. I could change this readAllText to be readAllLines. However, if I run this, you'll notice that this is not what I was looking for. So what I need to do is access the first element of this array, because readAllLines is now returning an array of strings. So let's type a bracket, 0, and another bracket in order to get the first element of the array. Note, this could cause an error if your file is empty. You'll notice as I run it again, it's only printed out the first element of the file. And you'll notice that using the number 0, I got the first element. That's because arrays begin at the element 0 instead of 1. So John would be 1 and YouTube would be 2. Maybe I want to print them all out. Let's type for each, followed by a parenthesis, followed by a variable such as line, text from file, the closing parenthesis, create a new line. This is just looping through each element of this array, and then we're going to print that value on the line. Make sure that you're not putting the array here, but rather just the one line. Now when you run it, it appears just like it did the first time, and you'll notice it matches the file exactly. So there you go. That's two different ways to read a file using C#. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, and thanks for watching.